President Trump, to my understanding, declassified everything. The FBI's withholding of information and lack of transparency is crazy. It's honestly, it may be the first step to tyranny.
Lindsey Halligan, Trump's so-called beauty queen prosecutor, has been hit with a professional misconduct complaint. The 36-year-old former Miss Colorado beauty pageant contestant was Trump's former personal attorney. She had no experience as a prosecutor when Trump appointed her to the position of U.S. Attorney in Virginia. The former U.S. Attorney in Virginia resigned from the position because Trump wanted charges brought against former FBI Director James Comey and New York Attorney General Letitia James, Trump's own personal enemies.
Lisa, we know both James Comey and Letitia James attorneys are saying that Halligan should not be interim attorney because that 120-day interim term ran out with her predecessor, and so they can't go back to back with interim attorneys. Attorney General Pam Bondi then came in after all this, gave her a new title, and so now Lindsey Halligan is a special attorney to the Justice Department assigned to oversee the Comey and James cases. How might that factor into how the judge rules here?
I don't think very much at all. I mean, Pam Bondi's sort of ex post actions to ratify Lindsey Halligan with additional titles or to delegate authority to her as a special U.S. attorney doesn't impact, Anna, what happened at the moment of indictment. It's indisputable that at the moment of indictment, Lindsey Halligan was the only person acting as interim U.S. attorney, and that was the only title she had at that moment. When she then signed the indictment, she was the only person to sign it. And again, only with that title. So Judge Curry today has to assess whether at the time of indictment, Lindsey Halligan was lawfully appointed such that she could indict James Comey and Tish James by herself. Again, an order signed by Attorney General Pam Bondi on the 31st of October, well after both parties were indicted, probably doesn't have any legal impact, although the attempt is to shore her up in the event that she gets to stay on this case, Anna.
Now, Halligan is being called on to be investigated for doing exactly what Trump is directly asking of her, which is bringing charges against Comey and James. From the Daily Beast, the legal watchdog group Campaign for Accountability has written to both the Florida Bar and Virginia State Bar urging an investigation into Lindsey Halligan, a 36-year-old former Miss Colorado beauty pageant contestant. The group is accusing her of bringing federal charges against two of Trump's political adversaries, despite what it describes as a dearth of evidence that either committed a crime. It is difficult to overstate the damage wrought by Ms. Halligan's actions. In addition to unjustly and vindictively inflicting direct personal harm on Mr. Comey and Ms. James, she is single-handedly undermining, maybe irrevocably, the public's confidence in the impartiality of the Department of Justice. And that was from CFA Executive Director Michelle Coppersmith. And one could argue that that public confidence in the Justice Department has already been maybe irrevocably undermined. Just look at our Attorney General and Deputy Attorney General. They both worked for Trump previously in a private capacity, and they basically do whatever it is that Trump wants them to do. Deputy Todd Blanche even personally facilitated the transfer of convicted sex criminal Ghislaine Maxwell from a very high security prison to a minimal security prison with unheard of perks, including off-site meetings, private exercise time, and a puppy, all in exchange for Maxwell stating publicly that she never saw Trump do anything bad. The collusion between Trump, Todd Blanche, and Pam Bondi is so open and obvious these days that I feel like people have almost forgotten that the Department of Justice is not under the presidency. The DOJ is not the president's personal weapon to wield. It's supposed to be separate and independent from the presidency because circumstances tend to arise when the DOJ needs to investigate the presidency. There is a reason why this particular DOJ has not done that with this particular president. But back to Halligan, her office charged Comey with lying to Congress. Comey was fired by Trump in 2017, shortly after he was inaugurated, and now he is being accused of allegedly making false statements in 2020 about whether or not he authorized leaks pertaining to the 2016 Russian election interference probe. And Letitia James has been accused of bank fraud, which is funny because James recently prosecuted Trump and the Trump Organization for filing fraudulent financial statements pertaining to their real estate holdings. The motives of retribution are clear. Trump, after all, along with all of those in his sphere and his fan base, have often referred to his second presidential term as his revenge tour. But if the apparent motives aren't enough to convince you, Trump accidentally posted something to Truth Social back in September that was supposed to be, it seems, a private message that he meant to send to Pam Bondi saying, "Pam, I have reviewed over 30 statements and posts saying that essentially same old story as last time, all talk, no action. Nothing is being done. What about Comey, Adam, Shifty Schiff, Letitia? They're all guilty as hell, but nothing is going to be done." Then we almost put in a Democrat-supported U.S. attorney in Virginia with a really bad Republican past, a woke rhino who was never going to do his job. That's why two of the worst Dem senators pushed him so hard. He even lied to the media and said he quit and that we had no case. No, I fired him, and there is a great case, and many lawyers and legal pundits say so. Lindsey Halligan is a really good lawyer and likes you a lot. We can't delay any longer. It's killing our reputation and credibility. They impeached me twice and indicted me 5 times over nothing. Justice must be served now, President DJT. Well, just 5 days after he posted that, Comey was indicted, and a few weeks later, so was James. And as for the CFA and how they are proceeding, the CFA has now accused Halligan of violating numerous rules of professional conduct for lawyers, including those barring prosecutors from filing charges that they know aren't supported by probable cause and making false statements to the courts. We are asking the Virginia and Florida bars to investigate, making clear that a government appointment is not a hall pass for unethical behavior. On top of all of this, just a side note, is Trump's and MAGA's obsession with beauty pageants and beauty queens. I know I don't have to go into all the details with all of that. We know that Trump ran a pageant for years. We know the things he did that he said he did while running that pageant. We know about his pageant-related ties to Jeffrey Epstein, and we know that MAGA is a very big fan, generally speaking, of beautiful white women. Beauty, of course, is in the eye of the beholder, and you couldn't pay me to get that Mar-a-Lago face plastered onto my own face. But beauty queens tend to represent and embody things like traditional family values, America First patriotism, poise and perfection, all the things that MAGA Republicans would love to be associated with and to be representative of. The bleach blondes that they choose to align themselves with represent the best kind of femininity to them. Curves, but only the kind that we're paid for, softness, lightness, and whiteness. They are the perfect arm candy, and they love to be arm candy. They're beauty queens, after all. They love to be on display and on parade, fawned over and appreciated. They value not just their beauty, but the lifestyle their beauty can afford them and the access it can grant them. And look, pretty privilege is nothing new, and it is certainly not limited to beauty queens or even to white women. But this is certainly an interesting way that the powerful men in this country have found to weaponize it. All right, that's it for me. If you got anything out of this, please like the video and subscribe to the channel for more. Thanks.